Hello everybody, or anybody that's listening, or can be bothered. Duh. I thought I'd go back a few years to November the 18th, 2009. And I'm reading from my old MySpace blog. So, just doing my dreams blog. Cannabis at the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference. COP15 out. Got a lot more out too. Copenhagen, wonderful, wonderful COP15 out. Question mark. The below is a comment on the Copenhagen climate change site where they asked for people's solutions to the problems of climate change. Well, we know, really, well, we don't know, because there's still differing views on what climate change is and why we're having the disasters that we're having, from the two main scientific views to the fact or possibility that there might be a revisitation of the planet Nibiru. But we won't go into that. The below is my comment. The rainforests have been the carbon storage factories of the earth forever. We all know what is happening to those natural factories. With the knowledge that plants and the trees of the rainforests store carbon, we must come to the realization all plants store carbon. From the Falklands to Greenland, now that the ice is melting in summertime, we need to utilize a plant that the United Nations in 1986 said all nations should be growing. It is a plant that can be processed into food, fibre, fuel, and also many pharmaceutical preparations, making it an ideal plant for all African nations to grow. At that point, I could say for all of Russia to grow, and all of the Ukraine to grow, and much of South America, and Northern America, Australia, every nation can grow it. It is a plant that can be grown on marginal land and semi-arid land, unfit for conventional crops. It needs no pesticides, but will need fertilizer in semi-arid regions until leaf shedding and root systems replenish the quality of the soil over a period of years. Its utilization will create millions of jobs internationally and will be humanity's greatest low-carbon storage resource. Tens of thousands of products can be made from it. Its carbon storage potential is enormous. In this present international ecological and economical climate, all products that pollute need to be minimized. Pretty obvious, really, when you think about it. And all products that carry the lowest carbon footprint need to be maximized. And this should be done with the cooperation of all polluting industries. Why say the polluting industries? Because you're killing the planet, mate. To save our planet has to be the goal of Copenhagen. And this, you know, is November 2009, and they've still done nothing, nor do they intend to do anything. Minimising emissions will not in itself stabilise the effects of climate change, global warming. Minimising emissions in order to prevent a 2-degree rise will not prevent future famines, mudslides and other environmental disasters which will be attributed to the effects of global warming and deforestation. I call upon the United Nations to implement and manage the global mass production and processing of this plant beginning in 2010. Surely it is now time for our world's leaders to acknowledge the low carbon attributes and carbon storage potential of the humble hemp plant. To the ice cream maker, whose name I do not know, I echo his words. If you know of a way to save the planet, don't whisper about it. Shout about it! But anyway, I tried to shout about it to Copenhagen, but they didn't even acknowledge my emails to various people that I sent emails to, and I can't remember the names anymore, and can't be bothered to look. But this was my message to them, and that was my message to them. And then came G20 seconds to extinction. G20 was 3rd of April 2009 or around then. So I'm going backwards in time. Backwards in time. G20 seconds to extinction. Extinction. And the fact of the matter is, hemp is a carbon-neutral, globally neglected, very green resource which would see millions employed globally in low-carbon footprint industries. It is a fact I have been trying to tell city officials for 10 years in Birmingham City Council and Advantage West Midlands as it was then, and government, for close on 7, and Obama since he came to office. 7 years. And 10 years I spent talking to Advantage West Midlands and the government. Anyway, all have received documentation on how the industry should be developed before the so-called tipping point of 2015, when global warming becomes irreversible, according to some scientists. The UN-managed global mass production and processing of hemp would enable humanity to have a truly green agricultural economy. If that $1 trillion were to be invested in hemp, humanity might have that green economy, and our children would then be looking forward to a sustainable future. All they have to look forward to now is the extinction of 1/3 of the world's species, which could include themselves. Anyway, if you want to have a look at my MySpace, to read my blog there, which is really, really boring, and all about hemp and cannabis, I suppose, the bits there about cannabis. mainly it's hemp. I suppose you realise the fact that not only has the government kept quiet about the Anand Grover report and Baroness Meacher standing up in the House of Lords and saying there is no more obvious waste of taxpayers' money than the £19 billion wasted on drug prohibition. So there's two sides of the coin with cannabis. One is, well, work with the, let's say, ganja problem. And that's hemp and cannabis. So they're keeping quiet. The government has kept quiet about the fact that it's a human right violation to criminalise any drug user according to the United Nations. And they are keeping quiet about the value. I hate using money, really, or adding, attributing value to something, but the humanitarian value of hemp as a resource is phenomenal. Even if there is no global warming and it's just a figment of the scientists' imaginations. So they've wasted donkey's years prohibiting a plant that could be of benefit to humanity. Now this prohibition started way back in 1928, but it came into fruition really in 1937 with the Marijuana Tax Act, which the US government didn't know. Agricultural department in the US didn't realise that marijuana was hemp. So there's a massive tax put on the production of hemp, because hemp is marijuana, and that's when it started really. This industrial conspiracy, and conspiracy can be a fact, and it seems as though the hemp conspiracy is definitely a fact, because what happened was in 1937 there was an explosion of synthetic products made from oil, nylons and stuff like that, and clothes. So instead of having the green industry in 1937, as popular mechanics rose about, we have the Marijuana Tax Act and an explosion of synthetic products instead of natural products, natural hemp products. Anyway, I'm waffling on a bit now, but the thing is, the government is keeping quiet about it. Not only is the government keeping quiet about it, the United Nations is keeping quiet about it, because they should be saying, why aren't you growing hemp? Have you forgotten about it, United Nations? That you recommended it way back in 1986. And you've made these recommendations about decriminalisation and depenalisation of drug users. So it's time to get the facts straight as far as cannabis is concerned and hemp is concerned. But really, it's about the whole drugs issue, because that's what the recommendations of the United Nations are. Got to wake up to it. But then again, there's loads of things you've got to wake up to. And one of them's, everybody's crazy in this world, apart from me, it seems. But then again, who knows? I'm not the crazy one. I can't be the crazy one, can I? Not really. when it's so obvious that this whole system is just really, really bad. Help me. Oh golly, I don't want to die. I want to see what happens. You know, in this mad house of a planet, because the elite are destroying it. I think they want us all to die. Well, according to the Georgia Guidestones, they do, don't they?